Meet Dr. Robert Schwartz, a well-known Manhattan cosmetic dentist. He practices 1 day a week to keep his hand in, but the rest of the time is devoted to his passion, buying and selling paper stocks and bond certificates.
I recognize this one, American Express.
Of course. Signed by Wells and Fargo.
The Wells and Fargo?
Yes, the Wells and Fargo.
The official name for this is scripophily, collecting paper stocks and bonds for their artistic and historical value. Like this Lehman Brothers certificate, after the Wall Street bank collapsed, the 2008 U.S. financial crisis deepened into a global recession.
How much is that worth?
It's worth immensely more as a collectible than as a security.
Now over here, shades of Forrest Gump. This is Apple Computer, an early certificate. That's got to be worth something.
Actually, it's probably equivalent to the value of the share itself as a collectible.
And alongside it, an early Pixar specimen, apparently signed by the man himself, Steve Jobs.
A facsimile signature, but with his signature on it, still immensely collectible and immensely rare.
This is beautiful. I love this one, the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus.
That type of certificate was as ornate and lovely as anything printed up to that time.
And that's the point. Today, when you buy a stock or bond, it pops up in your online portfolio. Back in the day, you could see, touch, and I guess even smell your investment in a hard copy.
It is a popular hobby and also as a business throughout the world, from Asia to Europe, the US, South America, even Africa, and the Middle East.
I know a couple of certificates that Dr. Bob would love to get his hands on. Trouble is, they're not for sale. 5 days a week, I'm at the New York Stock Exchange reporting for CGTN, and I walk past these, the first securities ever issued by the exchange. This one was issued by Alexander Hamilton, yes, that Alexander Hamilton of the popular musical fame, to help pay for the American Revolutionary War. This one helped fund the US government, and in so doing, helped to bring the New York Stock Exchange indoors for the first time.
We began on the street, which is, I always say, is a terrible place to meet. It's hot in the summer and cold in the winter here in New York. And so in 1792, 24 brokers signed what was called the Buttonwood Agreement. One of those signers, the very first signer, is a gentleman named Leonard Bleecker. Leonard Bleecker's bond is on display here in the lobby of the New York Stock Exchange. And it was a trade in those bonds and the successful trade in those bonds, which led them to basically raise enough money to rent some indoor space, move inside underneath the Buttonwood Agreement, which then in 1817 was renamed the New York Stock Exchange.
These two certificates are priceless and will never leave the NYSE.
And still the share certificates keep coming. Here's Bear Stearns, another investment bank in New York that went under at the height of the crash.
Unfortunately.
Back at Archives International Auctions, surrounded by paper certificates, Bob has something to be really proud of too. He sold the most expensive document of this kind.
$265,500. And you sold it.
The highest price paid for a U.S. stock or bond.
And what makes it so special? I believe George Washington, the first U.S. president, is involved in this document.
Yes, George Washington had a bond issued to him, and it was signed by him and endorsed back to the United States in 1792 while he was president.
So he got the bond and gave the money back to the government.
Yes, yes, that's what he did.
What a top man.
That's why he was our first president.
John Terrett, CGTN, New Jersey.